This one, it's kind of a funny one. Well, it's not funny for the people involved, but it's kind of like it's a crazy title when people send me this. There is apparently a 16 years old being extorted by another VTuber called Blossom. So I was like, what the hell is this? It all started from this tweet, okay, where Blossom was like, my response to Darmachi and my experience with the Yes Precure 5 Let's Go fan project. She has this big Google Doc, 53 page, but then somebody in the replies puts this, putting this here since it seems someone mass reported Darmachi's account so both sides of the story are clear and not cherry picked. So apparently the Marshy is the 16-year-old VTuber. Well, person. I don't know if he's a VTuber. And apparently his account got mass reported, so he was suspended. And I read his document, and he is extremely special, but he's also 16 years old. And so his name is Darren. He says, I made this doc to highlight my awful experience with VTuber known as Blossom. He's the one that posted the document first, just to tell you. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you guys everything. It's a wild ride. But this guy is making this project, whatever this name is, Precure 5 Let's Go fan project. And he's like contacting these VTubers to see if any one of them would like to promote his project for him, and he's offering them money in exchange. So he's contacted this Blossom VTuber. She has a magical girl aesthetic that will fit to market his project. He's like, here's the link to the manga, link to the novel, and he's, discussing the pays, etc. And this is a Blossom here. After this, the communication moved to Discord. So in the Discord conversation, he sends her $100 to, promote the project. And then he messaged her a couple of times. But throughout his communication, he's not being super professional. There's a lot of grammatical mistakes. He's very special in the way he acts. Like there's a lot of, emojis everywhere, lots of exclamation mark. He kind of spams her a little bit. He has severe autism and he tends to get overly excited, and as you guys will see, he like misreads a lot of the situations too, and becomes very emotional about some things. But so does she. Like both of them escalate this crazy, and I don't know why every page of his Google Doc has this wood saying I hadn't in the header. I think he made a mistake when he formatted this, but it's there on every single page. And then at one point she's like, I'll make you a form and to promote your project. And there's a lot of people that, filled out the form. There's been a lot of interest. So he's like, okay, can you hand the form results to me and my team so we can go through it? And then she's like, what do you mean request to edit? This is a bit unclear for me. This form is for you to do what you want to, and 4, you can replicate the form of your team so you own it. I'm not handling the application at all because it's not my part of the job. He says, oh, you're not handling the application? She's like, for free? XD. He says, oh, lol, don't worry, it's okay. Oh my god, the post is blowing up. So what time are you going to post the form? She says, yeah, I said I'm happy to give a little advice and set up this for you for free, but you just said you have a team, and expecting me to filter through 50 plus submissions isn't inside the scope right now. I think it's better if your official account posts and I can repost and retweet it. So already there was like some misunderstanding and friction there. Then Blossom referred me to another VTuber named Suki. So he's like, he goes out and he reaches out to Suki. But then Suki's like, I'm an 18 plus content creator and I'm not comfortable dealing with a minor because he's 16. So he writes back to Blossom and he says, I know you will probably see this message on Monday or Tuesday, but I talked with them and they said that their content is only for 18 plus audiences, and honestly, I feel a bit saddened that you didn't tell me this, consider that you knew them already. I'm not blaming at all or anything, and I really appreciate you for referring me to her. You showed this much kindness to me to help my project succeed. I hope this doesn't affect our relationship and collaboration together. Now she gets offended because he said, I don't know, saying I sadden you while blaming me is very unprofessional. Other people's boundaries are not my fault. And then she shows like a message of herself talking to Suki about it. And Suki's like, well, I'd rather keep a minor safe. And regardless if they're able to promote this or not, I don't want to, work with him. You said you aren't blaming me, but it is. So already she's on the fence. She feels like he's blaming her. And honestly, he You probably shouldn't have worded this message that way. I feel a bit saddened she didn't told me this. She says, oh, I apologize for my wording. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. And she says, you've also quintupled messaged me since I said I was away, which is okay, but it's a bit overbearing. I'm coming home today and I'm honestly seeing a lot of red flags that are concerning me. Then he like apologized for her. Dear Blossom, I'd like to formally apologize for how I've been acting and treating our relationship together. I've acted completely unprofessional and I should have waited for you until you have gotten back to your home to start sending you message. The reason I did that is because I was excited to work with you, but that's completely unacceptable excuse for how I've spoken and treated you. I'm very grateful for working with you, yada yada. He even gave Blossom a gift to show my gratitude for working with me. She accepted it, but refunded me and rescinded the partnership. So she refunds him the $100 payment, and she's like, I'm not going to be working with you. The messages are unprofessional. You know, they're full of grammatical errors. There's a lot of smileys, some hey hey. And then she's kind of like schooling him. She's like, you expected me to take a management role for your application after making you a form for free. You already apologized, which is fine, but it shows me you have no sense of structure for this project, which would worry a client. You blame me and said you weren't blaming me for a potential partnership failing because you are a minor. I've been informed that you name dropped me in Suki's comment section. This is highly unprofessional and you should never do this without permission. Please do not mention me again for getting someone's attention. That's also, I mean, he's basically going about it in all the wrong ways because one, he's a kid, and two, I suppose he's autistic, as he says. And he just doesn't have a lot of social tact. And all of this is off-putting her. And then his website says things like, you got no bitches, and not to message you about old drama. But this doesn't look good for me when I refer people to you. Keep in mind that I didn't know I needed Blossom permission to mention her name in Suki's. I don't know why she needed to mention my straw page. She calls it his website, but apparently it's a straw page, which is kind of like a marshmallow where people can send you anonymous questions. And not to message me about old drama, just me setting my boundaries. But so she has an issue with him saying that on his straw page because somebody sees this, you're like, wait a minute, but what old drama have you been involved with? You know, are you running away from some old drama? After that, I told her I was sorry and I felt really sad and sorry for what I had done. She would then make a post about not doing the project anymore due to it not aligning with her values. And this is where things start really derailing. So she says she rescinded her sponsorship for the Pretty Cure fan project after concerns for the project direction, which no longer aligns with my values. And now he starts kind of freaking out because he's like, can you please fix the tweet? Can you also add that people make mistakes? And while you don't want to work with me anymore, I'm still kind of a human being who just made a mistake and will improve in the future. I don't want people to get the bad impression that I did something horrible to you when all I did was a few unprofessional mistakes. So she's like, no, Darren, you read the text too emotionally. And she's not wrong. He does react very emotionally to everything. But it also, I mean, I'm reading this. Like, we just saw this with Sock's agency dropping out of the con. You see somebody, like, dropping out of a sponsorship, saying it doesn't align with your values, you're gonna think something's up with that company. So he says, you're making it sound like the project is doing something horribly wrong. And also I saw your reply on the Procure post. Was it really necessary to offer DMs? What are you going to even tell them? I assume she offered to DM some people. SBA dropped out of a con. It was on Key. It was a few weeks ago. And she says, it's necessary for me to, you know, tell my followers about a partnership I'm no longer interested in. It's my responsibility to tell anyone who wants to know me why I left the project because they came from me. I could have publicly told everyone what you did to me, but I've kept it private because you're a kid whose feelings get hurt easily even when professional wording is used. No longer aligns with my values is the professional and polite way in the industry to say there were things we didn't agree on. Blossom, I'm going to tell you this right now. Please delete it. I made a mistake and I apologize for it, but this is absolutely disgusting behavior from you to say this to me. You're basically insulting me for a mistake that I did, and the part where I get hurt by professional words is simply not true and pretty cruel from you. Listen, I'm not a perfect human being, and of course I'm going to do mistakes, but to say those words to me is despicable. So here he's like clearly overreacting, but I mean, he's clearly overreacting. She's being very strict to him, but at the same time, she keeps like responding to him. And at this point, like, you guys are not working together anymore. Just stop responding. Yeah, this guy has zero respect for boundaries. She says, "You're joking, right?" He's like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Darren, rethink this through and talk with your friends. Come back in 24 hours. And if this is still your thoughts, we're done and I'm going public with my response." Then he starts like begging her, "Please, I don't want to start any drama because of this." And then she starts pressuring him and saying that she's going to go public with this. She's going to go public with this. And he starts freaking out. She's like, "Last chance. You have no idea what you're saying or how this will affect your project. I've given you benefit of the doubt because you don't know what you are saying. Do you agree or not to calm down and collect your thoughts and come back in 24 hours?" She's like, "All right, fine. I'll back down and stop. Don't send me a single message until Tuesday, blah, blah. Then we can talk after that." She says yes. After 24 hours, I messaged her saying that she was right and I'm sorry for what I said to her. I thought that she was just going to say okay and just block me or leave me alone. That at the same time, he says he's mourning the loss of a family member. I don't like that she's threatening to go public instead of just blocking him and moving on. Yeah, exactly. She says, "I have nothing to say and you haven't said anything since the time has elapsed. Is there nothing to say? I will be going." She says, "I'm sorry, I was nervous to talk to you." I mean, you're doing business with a kid. What did you expect? He's acting like a kid. Sure, he's acting a bit weird, as I said before. This guy has no concept of, social property, social propriety at all. But at the end of the day, like, he's just a kid and she's being way too hard on him and she's kind of giving me Karen vibes. She says, "Fine, Blossom, I was wrong for what I said. I'm an unprofessional kid. You're right about everything. I admit it. I don't want to start any drama with you. I had to deal with the loss of a family member who died. So yeah, I don't need more stress in my life. I'm sorry for everything." And then she's like, "Why did you call me cruel, disgusting, and despicable? Still think that's true?" And then he's like, "No, it's not. I was just being ignorant and foolish. I didn't mean those things to you, and I'm sorry for saying that to you. I don't know you. I don't owe you anything, and I went out of my way to do nice things for you, and you questioned everything, and I insulted me after I patiently explained how adults see things." She's being kind of like super condescending to him. He says, "I don't understand why you want an apology from him when you're cornering him like that, and anything he says at this point is not going to be authentic anyway. I don't know, Blossom. I don't know what you want me to say other than I'm sorry for hurting you and breaking your trust. I was able to go back in time, then I would change my behavior." And then she's like, "Here's my last tip for free that even adults don't understand. I literally have a post on it on Twitter, so I'm not joking. Whenever you're issuing an apology to anyone, follow the steps on Google Images, and I don't want to go through it now, just for the future." So she sends him like some apology roadmap. She pulled the adult card. Yeah, she's just going way too far. Oh wait, there's more. He's like, "Thanks for letting me know that. Much appreciated." She says, "You have really hurt my feelings and rude what little faith and trust I had in you to stay mutuals and give you access to talking to me. This is irreparable, even after your apology, and I'm still considering publicizing what happened because you have contacted heaps of my mutuals. Blossom, if I wrote you a good apology, you promise not to share this with the public, please?" She says, "No. Are you saying your apology was not the best of your ability?" He says, "No, I'm not saying that." She says, "Your words don't really mean anything to me right now. All I care about are followers that you poached from my post since you insulted me." And oh my god, he's so stupid here. Okay, I forgot about this part. So, I also like to mention that I only told two of her mutuals about this because one of them asked me about it and I wanted to be honest with another one, so I told them the partnership won't work as seen here. So this is an email exchange with somebody he was discussing about the collab. And then this person is like, "I'd need more information on the project before saying yes." And then he responds this. Oh my god. "Hello. If you're still on the fence about it, then I feel like we shouldn't work together. I don't want to make a mistake in front of you and then you get upset and threaten to release the info in public because that's currently happening with me and another VTuber right now. And while it's not the worst thing, I still feel scared and hurt by it." Like, why would you say that? Why would you admit that to somebody completely unrelated? Oh no, dude, Darren. I'm a kid with autism and I have difficulty being a bit professional sometimes, so I think this might be a bit hard for us to work together after what happened with the VTuber. Thanks for responding sincerely. He's self-reported. Yeah, he's crashing into a stranger. Oh, Darren, no, no. Then the other VTuber responds saying, "Would you be able to say why the collaboration between the two of you ended?" Like, obviously, you read that, you're like, Holy shit, something horrible must have happened. I just saw the recent social media post about it and I'm curious as to why things has fallen through. He says, would it be fine if I talk to you over Discord if you do have one? He is way too earnest. Yeah, this is just a teenager fighting with a child. I don't know. Alright, so basically what happened was I kind of acted a bit unprofessional with Blossom and she didn't really like it. Now, I didn't say anything seriously wrong or did anything bad. I just said something stupid that I should have said, and yeah. I'm actually crying right now because I'm so ashamed and upset with myself for being unprofessional and foolish around her. So yeah, I'm looking for another VTuber to promote my project if you're up to it. Yeah, 16 years old and you already have to write Google Docies. And he says, if I told your followers what I did and saw my fault and they should block me for what I did, will you forgive me? Blossom says, I was happy for you to contact them before you started slinging names at me. Bro, he just said you were cruel. Like, chill. I'm trying my best not to upset you right now. I don't trust you to tell the truth properly or professionally. That's completely understandable, Blossom, and I don't blame you. I've seriously broken your trust and I completely deserve your anger at me. That could work though, but I can't really trust that you actually do message every single person you already messaged. He says, Blossom, I literally will record myself telling your followers the truth to them if it makes you have some sense of trust in me. I don't wish to cause your reputation, your dignity, any harm. She says, my reputation and dignity is fine. Yours is the one on the line. I'm like, sheesh, this is crazy. And then he says, what she just said really worried me. I was trying to do everything to not make her upset. He does sound really desperate in these messages and posts about this, but she didn't really want to listen to me. Then she asked me this. If you write a standardized letter that I approve, post it as a status to Darmachi and send the link to everyone, I'll probably believe you and ask for nothing more. What's a standardized letter? She says, just an apology statement saying what you did. He says, okay. It's you to your 1.4k followers or me to my 18.8k followers, and I've never mentioned your name before, so it's up to you. So he's like, all right, I'll write this apology, and he needs to basically publicly shame himself for the mistakes he's made. But he agrees, okay? She says, cool, you don't have to include my name. Just call me Client A. Please include the following. Client A tried to help you as the project lacks structure and even organize an application form free. You expected them to manage it for free, which was wrong. Your client brought you opportunities for specialized groups and agencies, but when turned down for your age, you blame Client A for not knowing. He's talking about that Suki VTuber who didn't know, whom she didn't know was doing only 18 plus content. When Client A parted ways because of this and made a statement about it anonymously, you insulted them and called them names. Says, okay, I will do that. Please send me a draft before uploading. And if I do all of this perfectly, will you not post anything about this and we just go our separate ways, never to see each other again? She said, yep, unless you hurt one of my mutuals or followers, of course. I won't do that, I promise. I mean, it sorta is blackmail. Is this not just straight up blackmail? I guess that's why people are calling this extortion. And of course, if any of your friends try to harass me, not saying this is harassment, but I'm seeing the sarcasm. Because one of his mutuals saw one of her posts and quote tweeted this. So she sent him that tweet and she's like, somebody's criticizing me, somebody that's one of your mutuals. And I'm not saying that this is harassment, but if any of your friends try to harass me, I'll go public with this. And then he says, I did not talk to her about this, I swear. You do know that you and me used to mutuals and I'm mutuals with that person. They get your post too. That's it. And he says, I was really uncomfortable with this. Before even confirming it was me, she tried to put the blame on me. I never wanted my mutuals to go public about this. No, I did not tell my mutuals to go and say that to her. She just found her account of her own accord and decided to reply. I didn't have a say in that. It's okay for now. I'm letting you know if any of your friends harass me, it breaks our condition too. This person clearly dug through my posts, to comment this. I'm saying it's fishy to do that, so giving you a heads up. He says, okay, I wrote up a draft. So he wrote up a draft of the second apology. He says, hello, my name is Darren. This is my apology to Client A. I've been thinking about this whole situation. I realized that I made a big mistake in doing the things that I did. Client A tried to help me with the project, but it lacked structure, and they even organized an application form for free, and I expected them to manage it for free, which was wrong from my side. I acknowledge that I was acting unprofessionally and I know what I did was bad, but at that moment I was nervous and anxious, and while it's not a justification for what I did, it's just an explanation for what happened. Client A brought me opportunities, but when they turned me down for my age, I blamed Client A for it. I deeply apologize for the initial problem. I didn't understand how important it was. I will make sure to use this as learning experience. It's really hard for me to understand this, but now that I do, I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. When client A parted ways because of this and made a statement about it anonymously, I insulted them and called them names. I deeply regret ever doing that, and I will never do that again. I would also like to apologize for the incident with client A mutuals. There's no excuse for what I did, and it was out of place, and I completely understand why client A is angry at me. But then Blossom sent him her notes. So she sends him all the changes. Change the first line to "Hello, my name is Darren. This is my public apology to client A, who I wronged during a sponsorship collab but wants to remain anonymous." Capitalize all of client A's. Change to "Client A tried to help me as my project-like structure, such as creating partner application form. Client A brought me partnership opportunities." Capitalize client A when mentioned that sentence at the end. Change it to professional statement about leaving the sponsorship anonymously. Change is angry at me to revoke the sponsorship. Remove this line. I will understand if client A doesn't accept my apology, and I won't blame them for it either. This confused me because isn't client A automatically anonymous? And the parts where she tells me to remove the last line at the end really confused me because she didn't accept my first apology before, even though she accepted it and said that I meant everything that I said. I wanted to ask her a question about this, but she said this instead. Blossom is reviewing it like some college paper. Like, I feel like he's going through some humiliation ritual. He says, "Hi, Blossom. Sorry I was outside. I have a few questions about this if you don't mind." She says, "Actually, I do mind. I used to have the patience to explain everything to you, but I no longer wish to talk to you after you disrespectful my action. What could you possibly be asking me, knowing I want to make this public? Think before you speak." Then he's like, "The last sentence made completely no sense to me, because if you do not wish to talk to me anymore, why didn't you drop the conversation with me when you found out that I'm 16? And then he posts some screenshot of their first few talks where she was like, "We can collab, but keep in mind that my streams are usually 18 plus, but I can host a PG or viewer discretion advice kind of stream for this collab." Then he apologizes again if he sounded rude. He says he has trouble understanding some things, and sometimes I have a hard time understanding things since I'm still young. I know it's not an excuse, but I ask that you keep in mind that when I ask questions, they're not done with bad intent, but rather a way to try and understand everything clearly. And she says, "Sure, but the thing you need to understand is that I don't want to talk to you and explain the rationale anymore. You'll have to ask someone else. Have you moved forward with any clients from my post and already paid them?" And I guess the part about a client is me emailing a bunch of VTubers about promoting the project, but since Blossom is literally threatening me with exposing me, I've decided not to go forward with them. I'm only going forward with one person, though, as I said here. It says I'll be moving forward with one of them. I haven't paid them yet due to personal circumstance, but they will be paid soon. As long as you inform them before you pay them, they can still move ahead with you. So she's given him the green light to go ahead and partner with one person who responded to the post that she publicized for him. You know what's the real worst sin? This much ego? It's crazy. Yeah, he stole her followers' attention when she promoted this thing once. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Refuses to use the block button. If you have a question that isn't about clarifying why I asked for a change, you can ask it. If it's to explain something I wrote, I won't be answering it. So he's like, okay, all right. And then he says he hasn't been editing the second apology because he's dealing with the loss of a family member. But she starts pressuring him. "Is there an ETA of when you will post it? I thought I outlined it, but I was supposed to say the post has to be a text post or a text post with a screenshot of the rest of the letter, as documents can be edited in the future." Yeah, no matter how you spin it, this is a grown woman bullying a child. It's sad that there are people like this. Exactly. And, you know, she makes this whole ass response, but clearly we see the way she's talking with him there. There's been a lot of miscommunication. I understand that she felt insulted in some of the communication. He didn't act properly at all, but he's a child. Just first of all, don't do business with children. Of course he's going to be unprofessional. Of course he's going to be immature. You're not his mom. You don't know him. Just stop answering. So she's like, "No estimate at all, like another day or two. I told you if you don't post it, I will be." He says, "Blossom, I'd like to remind you that I'm still dealing with the loss of a family member and my mental state has been deteriorating because of it, so I haven't been able to work on it properly. I apologize for the delay." And she says, "Your mistakes don't wait for you. The apology has been 98% written. All you have to do is add those changes and post. I don't want to drag this out longer. You have 48 hours to post it. 2 days from now or I will. She's so much, man. She's way too much. Over a procure fan project. By the way, if the changes are not similar or the same as expected, I will be correcting or posting publicly as well. But then she says this really alarmed me and worried me so much I didn't even sleep. But then she, I guess, changed her mind and she decided to apologize to him. She says, "Hi there, I'm sorry for speaking quite bluntly with you recently. Well, it's true I've been frustrated with you and didn't want to explain anything to you and give you my time anymore. I've realized it may feel humiliating for you to publicly post an apology." Good lord, it took a while to get there. "This was suggested out of frustration because you wronged me and I wanted to make everyone you contacted because of my post aware of how unprofessional you can be, but it might affect your branding in the future. As you saw from my previous message, I think you have a great idea and commitment to your fan project. It's just a shame we had so many problems. I was wondering if instead of you posting your apology, may I please post making a warning about the project?" But like, if you're making a warning about the project, you realize you're ruining his project, right? "But because you have contacted so many people, I will have to name drop the project and mention it wasn't professional and that you are a minor, but I won't go into specifics of your name calling me and asking me for favors. I still would like to tell you to tell the people who you contacted from my post that are thinking of going through with the deal," linking them to my post. "What did you think? Take your time. You can read the statement before I post it and ask questions as to why certain wording I use, but if you lash out at me, obviously I won't be answering further. Also, the nerve to tell me not to lash out when you literally threatened me and made me feel like a horrible person is completely..." The sentence doesn't even end. He can't even type the Google Doc properly, but I feel bad for him at this point. Yeah, after making him type all that stuff, she just now realized it may have been too much. She's being way too extra about all of this. It's crazy. She locked replies, I guess? "I've always had a sneaking suspicion that you'd be a rancid person. Really, that you pivoted from being this benevolent savant to blackmailing a minor. You were never a savant to begin with. Just a half-rate VTuber with a complex or two. I hope this is a learning experience for you." This is in his he was just a kid excited about a project. I don't think there was any real reason to belittle, manipulate, blackmail, and threaten this poor kid because he messaged you more than once, because you personally thought he was being unprofessional. I'm sorry, but this was really horrible of you to do. I hope you realize this. He deserves a real apology. Do better than this, Blossom. Yeah, demanding a public apology from him is crazy. And sending a few changes to his apology. Girl, are we for real right now? And they're showing, like, your mistakes don't wait for you. He's dealing with the death of a family member. That's like the hardest thing you can go through. I understand that you felt frustrated, especially after he, in my opinion, did overreact regarding your public announcement and parting way. And asking you to edit the post in the way he suggested was a little excessive. However, I do agree that the way you gave the reason for parting ways in that announcement made it sound like there was some ethical or political value that you didn't align with. Exactly, that's what I said. So I do see how he felt concerned for the way that could affect the project's image and success. Yes, he wasn't being professional and you are in your right to cancel the partnership if you weren't comfortable with that kind of attitude and behavior, but you continuously entertained him, as you put it, while brutally chastising a kid for all of these unprofessional characteristics. I can respect that you had intentions to mentor him, but ultimately you gave him hope, then shot him down in an excessively cruel manner. He messaged you 5 times, that is not that much, and in no way did he insinuate you had to reply to him quickly. He emailed you 3 times back to back. Okay, emails are also meant to be instantly read and are also not meant to be instantly read and replied to. You're free to respond whenever you're able. When he was saddened by your failed referral, I didn't think he was in the wrong for blaming you. Perhaps the team is responsible for vetting potential partners, yes. But as the main referrer in this scenario, you did mess up by failing to realize you referred to a non-minor friendly creator. And him expressing disappointment upon being rejected for that reason is very understandable. If you had more empathy in this situation, you would understand and apologize for your mistakes. My heart breaks seeing his desperation and fear immediately apologizing to you so intensely. It felt like a hostage situation. It felt like he was negotiating as a hostage for some of these text exchange. Regarding the straw page, it's valid to be concerned for its unprofessional image, but how come you yourself didn't see that and decide that's too unprofessional for you to partner with in the first place? In my opinion, him reaching out to people who previously responded with the interest through your post is reasonable. It doesn't really break your terms of no longer promoting him, because these people already put themselves out there for him to contact. Him name dropping you was clearly an accidental overstep on his part, and he didn't realize there were negative implications, and you vastly overpunished him. Pressuring him into writing an apology letter for simple misunderstanding or miscommunication and asking for specific changes to be made Threatening him with your following, backing him into a corner with a time limit is actually very disturbing, cruel behavior and not at all professional, despite belittling him for his own lack of professionalism. I appreciate you realizing you were in the wrong, but I honestly think there is more wrong in here than just that. As someone who has looked up to you for a long time, truly hope that this reply, along with many others, helps you reflect. Bro, this person is so... No, they're totally right. I agree with this person. Oh, Sheep commented on this. Oh, she says, not sure if you will read this, but I'd like you to know that if it were one of my autistic teenagers that you interacted with this way, you would be dealing with much more than an internet cancellation. You'd be dealing with my lawyer. What I saw made my blood boil. Triggered mama bear, and this child isn't even mine. I don't care how many followers you have or how nice you were in the beginning. I'm not sure why you agreed to take money from a minor for an internet project to begin with, but acting victimized because they didn't function as a professional adult is mind-boggling to me. Threatening them if you're following and didn't apologize fast enough on their Twitter is morally obscene. I'm not one to hop onto the cancellation train, but this crossed the line for me. I sincerely hope you reflect on how you, the adult, engage in the situation and learn from it. For Darren, if you see this and still need help promoting your project, let me know. I'll do it free of charge. Why did this Google Docu go out? He actually released the Google Docu first, from my understanding, and then she responded. Her response is like way too fucking long, man. 53 pages. The thing is, I know he didn't lie because this dude has no understanding of how he comes across. So I know he is way too honest. You guys saw how he emailed that VTuber and told him, oh yeah, I mean, there's like this other VTuber is threatening me and I'm making all these mistakes. I don't want this to happen to you. So he was earnest all the way. Autism makes it hard to lie, not gonna lie. Oh, really? Darren has not included screenshots of him messaging me multiple times. Like, I skimmed through it and it's like mostly things like that. Like, he didn't include all of the screenshots of him messaging her multiple times during the day and things like that. But ultimately, for me, it didn't feel like it changed the verdict or the way she acted with him. Honestly, it felt very disturbing reading some of these exchange at one point. And most of the document is spent, clarifying like the misunderstanding parts. Management role. I was worried about the structure of the project and people taking advantage of Darren, as well as him not understanding rates. Darren also asked me if I knew any other VTubers. I was worried that some kid had thousands of dollars to give away, not know who to give it to and what to expect of them. I wanted to at least lead Darren to having a partnership Google form to better understand the potential partners and then help him with a free exposure post to garner interest. I thought a certain VTuber group would be perfect for promoting Precure fan work. Obviously, things took a turn for the worse. I'm not sure why Darren says I twisted his words. Here are his words. I don't think she understands like autism. Yeah, she can't argue everything's been taken out of context. But see, it's all arguments like that. Like, I don't understand why he says it twisted his words. Obviously, you and him were talking past each other the entire time. Like, we all know this. We know this already. I don't need a Google log to know that. He's like misreading everything. She's misreading everything he's saying. I want to know what she says about the apology stuff, though. It happened thing of middle last year. Kind of rude, honestly. Kind of rude, honestly. Is this at me or no? Elon Musk for taking away hashtag discoverability. But yeah, I really like the form, so I say you can post. See, she's very on edge. Kind of rude, honestly. Is this at me? Oh no, sorry, that's him. Yeah, they're both very on edge. Like, there's so much friction from the get-go. It's okay, I'm a lot older with experience. I think you may have to disclose that you're a minor somewhere. It was easy for me to spot, but are you comfortable with me mentioning it on the forum? I would find it weird to mention my age on the forum. So no, if that's okay with you. But once the content creator talks to me, I'll tell them my age immediately if that's okay with you. Sure, I won't mention it. I even gave Blossom a gift to show my gratitude. False, I never accepted the gift. I refunded money sent to my PayPal straight after this. I would never try to accept a gift. Keep in mind, I didn't know I needed Blossom permission to mention her name. My reply, this situation highlights our difference in expectation or professionalism. It's not typical for someone to name drop their client to vet other clients publicly, especially without even entering a formal deal. That's his straw page. I don't think a straw page is meant to be professional. What Darren claims will leave a bad impression that he did something wrong. So these are the two posts. Well, we saw this one. Sorry to all no longer supporting the project. Feel free to DM if you need to. But this is kind of what he said in this is I understood all of that from his doc. This is this document is bloated for absolutely no reason. She's given a transcript of conversation we've already seen. Darren tried to message me before the elapsed time. 8 hours later, he has deleted the messages since then. To clarify, and I made it clear that the how to apologize was a genuine strategy. I also mentioned it could be used for future apologies. I needed the people you pitch your sponsorship to know what happened, and you were desperate to not make this public. I felt like I couldn't post about it by name without your approval because of your begging. I couldn't block you and move on without knowing they knew about why I ended things. I don't understand, like, why can't it just be he's a kid and it became too complicated to deal with him because he's just not professional, and that's it. Why does it have to be such a big deal that you have to go public about it? She already went public saying that she doesn't support the project. Shouldn't it be the end of it? But you see, the verbosity creates the illusion of professionalism. You reached out to 10 plus people for my promotional post after I already rescinded the sponsorship when we were leaving on good terms. I left the post up because I thought I could still help you find people who were interested. However, since I already rescinded the sponsorship, they have a right to know why, since they came from my post, which is my recommendation and responsibility. I also meant that any further apologies could not change the situation. I understand that this was wrong of me to say. Sorry that I got Darren's followers count wrong. Who cares about getting his followers count wrong? What she said was fucked up. At the time, I thought a public apology was the best way to inform people about this professionalism. Obviously, I wasn't thinking that it was the most appropriate way to go about it. I was desperate to tell my followers not to work with Darren or the Procure Fan project. He told me he already contacted many of those who were interested, and I already received many DMs for people asking if they should move forward the project. I thought the best solution was for him to professionally but anonymously admit to why the sponsorship failed. To admit is the keyword there. It was wrong of me to pressure him by mentioning our follower count that I got wrong anyway. Well, not just that, I think the entire thing was pretty wrong. I wanted my followers to know what happened, but was aware of how mentioning the accounts publicly for the first time will affect the search result and the project's future, which is why I thought it would be better if the transparency came from his side rather than mine. Your mutuals were already discussing this situation, so I assumed they were talking about me cutting ties with the project. I stated that I received harassment from anyone in your circle, that I would publicly post that our sponsorship had ended and the reason why. My intention was to let you know that I was aware of the people who have told about our discussion, that I would be monitoring conversation involving me. I want to clarify that I did not blame you personally for their actions. It was to maintain a boundary that if things escalated, I would be taking action. Insane build. Do I share what the reason was to everyone? Hey, can I ask what occurred so that you no longer support a project? Suspicious of Darren's mutual wanting to interact with me. Make a public post. Wonder why people are reacting to it. This girl was my child, would have no issue with telling her that was wrong, manipulative, and you are an idiot. Yeah. Oh god. I'm sorry for losing my patience with you once I felt insulted. I honestly wanted to receive my sponsorship money, promote your project, and have friendly relations for future promos. I saw a young boy that needed direction with the project and had lots of questions and wanted to help them. However, I need to clarify that Blossom had also been informed of you this multiple times is wrong. While you had autism listed on your straw page, and I noticed from you asking me many questions while we were friendly that you didn't understand boundaries, I did tell you the boundaries which were unprofessional when I rescinded the sponsorship. I request that you recheck the chat logs. I don't believe this was brought up. Throughout our friendly period, I did my best to adjust my language and explain things carefully to consider your perspective at the time. I'm sorry I lost my patience and did become cruel and insensitive in our communication. I really did not want you to move forward with the people under my post. I was desperate to put out a public statement and end our relationship. I'm sorry for threatening you while you were dealing with a family loss and not giving you time to get back to me, as I gave you unnecessary pressure. However, I still believe people need to know that you struggle in a professional environment and why they should be warned before working with you. Why? Is Twitter brained. Why would I need to warn people? Because you're a minor. Most adults do not want to work with minors. Minors are vulnerable and easily manipulated by adults. Yeah, you don't say. I apologize for threatening and inappropriate behaviors. People don't want to work with minors. Minors are easily manipulated by adults, like I did. And because you don't understand boundaries and are likely to cross them. Asking me to take on your OC pet, multiple messages back to back, wanted to be friends, etc. My conclusion, I was wrong for the inappropriate actions that happened after you said I was disgusting and despicable. I was wrong for pressuring you to reply urgently. I was wrong for using my numbers in a way that felt threatening. I was wrong for not being the adult. I should have asked you to privately tell the people you already told that we're not going forward. Honestly, it's not. She doesn't get to. That's another issue with me and her thing, is that she doesn't get to dictate that, though. She made a post. Other people were interested. He needs to be transparent with them about the fact that he's a minor. And I mean, they'll probably see that about his boundaries thing, the way he speaks through their exchange. But after that, it's up to them if they want to continue the partnership. She doesn't think this is a good fit. That's on her, but it's up to them. She doesn't get to dictate who he should be working with just because she made a post and they came from her. Besides, Twitter, it doesn't even show your tweets to only your followers anymore. In fact, I'd say it's almost the opposite. Like, my followers don't even see my tweets most of the time. The algorithm will show whatever they think you're interested in seeing. However, I do want to clarify that I did care about your misunderstanding and that I did try to accommodate you while we were friends. As per our text, I explained things carefully, to which you thanked me for many times. I'm sorry I didn't want to explain why I asked for modification to your apology draft. I'm sorry for pressuring you into exposing what happened. The post I was going to write was a little official reiteration of the post, but mentioning the actual name of the project. Manipulating, verbally abusing, and blackmailing. These are not appropriate way to describe the situation. I recognize that I did threaten to publicly disclose the detail of the relationship, and I acknowledge that it was not an appropriate way to end the collab. I'm sorry that my behavior affected you and the situation escalated where it's today. I still believe it's important for people to have context about why the working relationship was not able to continue. I apologize for behavior and that my community had to see it. Oh boy. Fucking wild. Reminder, grown woman responding to a 16-year-old grown woman who is a nurse who was bullying a minor to post a public apology over the most mundane thing ever. Dude, if she's my nurse, just do me a favor and take me out the back and shoot me. Jesus. The fact she made a response statement is horrible, Imo. He's a child. All she needed to say to address this was, I shouldn't have threatened a child. I'm sorry. An adult would solve this privately. I imagine she wants her audience to protect her with this. Protect her from a kid. Now, pack it up, girl. You're done. Imagine this being your response to extorting a 16-year-old Lamau. You know what? I'll direct quote you. Here's my last tip for free that even adults don't understand. When apologizing to anyone, follow the steps on Google Images. True. It's you to your 1.4k followers or me to my 18.8k followers, and I've never mentioned your name before, so it's up to you. I mean, she did say that. And he got mass reported and suspended. That's crazy. Yeah, Knights Assemble, this kid has looked at me wrong. I feel pulled to bring awareness to this situation. TLDR, Blossom blackmailed, cyberbullied, and threatened and almost caused a minor to commit over her actions. Please read the document in DOP for all the context. I feel like this needs to be said that having a Twitter following does not make someone successful or untouchable. Twitter is a way to stay updated on current events, engage with mutual peers, make announcements, etc. I have little over 4k on this platform, but I have a booming YouTube channel. Okay, what is this? Being able to turn your following into a solid community is what makes a creator, not the number of a Twitter account. It's never okay to flex this as your source of clout. Would Darren have been more professional? Sure, but let's not forget that they're 16. They're obviously brand new to the business side of the entertainment industry and got excited like anyone would over receiving a yes from putting themselves and their passion project out there. Professionalism is a learned skill, not inherent. That is true. Blossom quite literally cyberbullied and attempted to control them. This behavior is unprofessional at best for her and predatory at its worst. Blossom knew from the beginning that they were a minor, they knew they had the tism, and still attempted to not only exploit them as a power grab, but publicly shame them for holding her accountable for how she was speaking to them. It's not uncommon once a collab has gone into DMs that communication becomes more lax, and to behave in this way she did over a clear breakdown in communication is unacceptable. To attempt to control who Darren collabed with moving forward, which is absurd. To force a shame ritual by public humiliating when she is an adult and Darren is a minor is absolutely disgusting behavior. Your Twitter following doesn't give you the right to cyberbully someone. Your followers anywhere do not give you the right to cyberbully someone. At any point, you could have just blocked and moved on. Exactly! If it were just about boundaries. But the level to which this was taken is absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, to me too. The part that pissed me off the most was when he said that he lost a family member and she didn't care. She was like, your mistakes don't wait for you. Doctor, this young patient is annoying. Can we put a tag on him to let everyone know he's annoying? Type a nurse. Oh my.